So what's up, everybody? I am back once again. I know it's been a while, but all this talk has been going around, and the topic today is baby formula. So baby formula apparently is hard to come by these days. Now, why is that? What can we blame for this? Well, if you are a typical left-winger, you will no doubt blame capitalism for this. And I do watch, occasionally, I listen to, rather, some clips from Jimmy Dore's show. And the guy's right about a lot of things. He's not the same guy that was on TYT back in the day. He's wrong about plenty of things. Obviously, he is a left-winger. But a lot of the things that he's right on are admirable. He was very right about all the COVID stuff. He's right about a lot of the war stuff. He's very good about calling out propaganda and corporate press for being the hacks and pieces of shit that they are. And anybody that does some of these things, like Jimmy does, I have to tip my hat to him a little bit, because those things will never be called out enough for my satisfaction. These are things I've been talking about for 5-6 years back on the original Autopsy channel. But, again, Jimmy is still a left-winger. And being a left-winger makes you horribly wrong about anything related to economics. So let's see what Jimmy Dore blamed for why we have a baby formula shortage in the United States.
So there's a shortage of baby formula. And why is that? Well, because capitalism eats itself, and now there's only like 3 companies that make all the baby formula. So if one of them has a problem, there's going to be a huge shortage. So, and why are there allowed to be 3 gigantic baby formula makers? Because they own the government. And they get rid of the regulation that's supposed to encourage competition. Okay. This same shit. Capitalism. This is what happens with end stage capitalism. We can't get food to our babies in the richest country in the world.
Okay, so there you have it. This is capitalism eating itself. It's capitalism's fault that there's only, he says 3, there's actually 4 companies that control 90% of the baby formula game. We're going to get into all of this. But blaming capitalism is a very common trend for left-wingers. These are guys that look at people like Richard Wolff and think, wow, this guy's brilliant. If only America knew how amazing this guy was, we would adopt the socialist policies, and Bernie Sanders would be considered a centrist because, goddamn, we've just got economics completely figured out. They absolutely don't. And Jimmy's not alone here, like I said. There was an article, I can't find it anymore. I can't remember if it was The Guardian or Huffington Post, but it was some outlet that had that sort of intellectual capacity. And they were basically saying this baby formula shortage is only happening because there is not a financial incentive for capitalist companies to enter into the market. Basically what they're saying is there's not enough demand for parents to feed their babies, despite baby formula already being a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, if that sounds retarded to you, it's because you're not stupid, they are. So why are American shelves empty, yet other countries don't seem to be having this problem? Well, it turns out this actually isn't a failure of capitalism, but we have to dig in to find out why that is. It is true that only 4 companies control 90% of the baby formula game, and if that sounds crazy, it's because it is. But contrary to popular myth, consolidation like this is not a result of free markets operating without government oversight. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Regulatory capture is what makes this sort of thing a reality, and the facts in this situation make that obvious for anyone who's actually willing to take a look. And I've broken this down into 4 easy steps that we can look at. Number 1, the U.S. government, via the Department of Agriculture, buys half of the baby formula produced annually through WIC and the SNAP programs. That's WIC and food stamps. Each state in the union has an exclusive contract with a single baby formula supplier. So one hand scratches the other, and on one hand, the chosen company gives the state a break on the costs of the formula. And in return, this company is given an exclusive monopoly on supplying baby formula to the state through the WIC and SNAP programs. The states literally grant a single company with an exclusive contract to a huge captive market. And even the Department of Agriculture's own research shows that whatever company gets these state contracts have a huge market advantage over the others. I mean, you don't say. My God, the problem is obviously private actors owning the means of production and buying and selling and trading that property voluntarily, right? 2, 4 companies control 90% of the market, and Abbott Nutrition holds roughly 2/3 of all of those state contracts. So that is one company that has been chosen by 2/3 of the states in the Union to have a near total monopoly on baby formula production. That isn't a company that has continued to best out their competition in cost or quality or overall productivity. This is a company that has been chosen by bureaucrats, paid by stolen funds from the taxpayers of this country, and granted the privilege of exclusivity on the baby formula market. Tell me again how this is free market capitalism, because I must be missing something. Other companies have a hard time competing against state-backed monopolies, especially one like this. If you know you're guaranteed when you go into business to lose out on that much of the market in 2/3 of the states, what the fuck is the point? 3. The FDA had recently shut down Abbott Nutrition to investigate a couple of babies' deaths possibly related to a contamination in their formula. And due to Abbott holding 2/3 of those state contracts and holding a monopoly position over their competition, their removal from the market created a huge supply shortage. And number 4, so why not just import baby formula from other countries? I mean, duh, right? Doesn't that seem obvious? Most other countries have packed out shelves with baby formula, and we're full of free trade and capitalism. Oh, that's right. The U.S. has a 17.5% tariff on baby formula imports. Protectionism for American producers is so free trade, right? And this is late-stage capitalism, though. Remember that? Remember every time a left-winger tells you we have Wild West capitalism in this country? That's what the problem is. There's not enough government controlling all of these things, right? These things are happening because there's not enough government, not because there's too much. This is late-stage capitalism. Always remember that. Remember when free markets and free trade meant government imposing monopolies and imposing protectionist tariffs on competition? I've done videos before railing the FDA for prohibiting importation of medical supplies and drugs from countries in Europe, Canada, Australia, all these other nations, where these drugs have been proven to be safe and reliable, but we can't get them here because our government bans them. But, just like in those situations, the FDA has standards that are so strict on baby formula in America that most of the stuff coming out of Europe isn't even legal to buy in the US, and that is if we overlooked the 17.5% tax on all the imports. So no, Jimmy, no left in general, this is not a capitalism problem. This isn't capitalism eating itself. That is not the inevitability of capitalism. This is a government problem. This is a cronyism problem that can only exist when government meddles in the market. In a multi-billion-dollar industry with such an incredible level of demand, we're talking about feeding babies and infants here, there would be hundreds more companies looking to enter the formula market and seek profits just like we see in every other arena of the market. Shoes, clothes, electronics, you name it. Freedom in the market means more competition, not less. But when you look to Richard Wolff as being a brilliant game-changing economist, these are the sorts of arguments that you're left with.